This is a can of food that expired 200 years ago, yet it is priced at 100 bars of gold. Because this is a society 100 years after the post-apocalyptic. Since the outbreak of nuclear war, numerous biological mutations, various man-eating monsters have appeared. In just a few decades, the world's population has plummeted by 90%. Those who survived can only hide in the ruins, struggling to survive. Occasionally, they can find expired food from the old era. That's also a delicacy. But this young man can produce a box of non-expired canned beef. He turned out to have traveled from 2024. Zhang Chun was originally a destitute college student who couldn't find a job, but he was unexpectedly hit by a meteorite. Not only did he not die, there was also an extra tattoo on his hand. He found that the tattoo only needed to absorb 100 degrees of electricity. You can travel to the future with yourself. The first attempt resulted in excessive force. Traveled to 300 years later. The world at this moment has been taken over by monsters. Scared, he wanted to travel back, only to find out that the tattoo's power has been depleted. I must find a place to charge. You can see the whole city is a ruin. Where can I find a place to charge? Walked for a whole day and night. Looks like someone lives here. Discovered a small building. He climbed in through the window and found a woman lying unconscious on the ground. She kept saying she was hungry. Fortunately, Zhang Qian crossed over, bought a backpack full of canned food, fed some to the woman. It didn't take long for her to wake up. The woman's name turned out to be Sun Jiao, a scavenger, but she hadn't found any food in the past 3 days, so she fainted from hunger. If it weren't for Zhang Chen passing by, she would have died for sure. In order to repay the debt of saving her life, she gave the only valuable watch on her body to Zhang Chen, which Zhang Chen originally didn't want to accept. After wearing it, it actually projects a virtual screen, displaying his various vital signs and the radiation levels of the environment. If this high-tech is brought to 2024, it will definitely be worth a lot of money. Then he was in the house, found a pile of broken electronic devices. Although they look like junk, but throw any of them to the year 2024, can make waves in the entire scientific community. But it's too easy to attract attention if taken back for sale. Might end up being targeted by the intelligence agency. He tentatively probed Sun Jiao. Is there anything like gold? Sun Jiao looked puzzled. Gold is worthless in the end times. Piles of gold bars in the ruins of banks are unwanted by anyone. Mentioned by Jiang Chen initiative. That night she packed some gear to go to the bank to pick up gold. Taking advantage of the time she was out, Zhang Chen used a generator to charge the tattoo. Then traveled back to 2024. Packed some food to bring back to the future. Sun Jiao came back a few hours later. Threw him a big bag of gold. Weighed it for a moment. At least 30 kilograms heavy. Just as he secretly rejoiced in his heart, Sun Jiao revealed an even more explosive news. The bank vault has several tons of gold reserves. Zhang Chen suddenly couldn't walk. The price of tin cans for 1 month. Hire Sun Jiao to transport gold for himself. Sun Jiao thinks he is being deceived. Canned food is a luxury item here. When Zhang Chen opens the refrigerator, there are not only canned goods inside, but also more rare vegetables and fruits. Sun Jiao's eyes lit up when she saw it, as if dreaming. Although I don't know where Zhang Chen got so much food from, but she simply doesn't care. In this era where people can kill and plunder for food, Zhang Chen gave her a mouthful of rice to eat. She can give herself to him. After a night of madness, Sun Jiao revealed the true situation of the bank. Most of the gold bars are stored in the vault. In order to get them, you must use explosives to blow open the vault door. The survivors' camp with explosives is just a few kilometers away. Can be easily exchanged for canned food, but she does not recommend a direct exchange. May be targeted by someone. It's best to switch to Yajing first. Saying that, she took out a crystal from her arms. This was dug out from the monster's brain. Can circulate among scavengers. Zhang Chen received in his hand. Found tattoo and automatic charging. You can collect more later. Then you don't have to worry about the power issue. Later, the two of them walked to the campsite. Encountered a group of people hunting monsters on the road. Sun Jiao explains. The monster is called Meat Mountain, although it looks very large, but not very aggressive. Plus, it has a lot of meat. Became the main source of food for refugees. Will be canned and sold in some camps. Zhang Qin's stomach churned. Swear never to eat post-apocalyptic food. Nothing unexpected happened along the way. The two arrived safely at the campsite. Here is surrounded by high walls. There are armed guards at the entrance. It is true that there was a simple check here. The two entered the camp. To sum up the technological level of District 6, that is not good. Women with collars on one by one, priced like livestock. This is a can of expired food from 300 years ago. Because in the apocalypse, people are worthless. Jiang Chun has a backpack of canned food. Want to take Fango to save them, but was stopped by Sun Jiao. Because the girl is a genetic clone. Originally in the early days of the apocalypse, scientists, for the continuation of humanity, established a gene sanctuary. After reaching a certain age limit, will automatically activate the cultivation of blood, producing perfect humans. What's ridiculous is that they are now controlled by some scavengers. They have become machines for producing cheap goods. These clones will be sent to a place called the New Wave Hotel to provide comprehensive services for residents, even made into food. Even if this batch is saved, it won't take long. Another batch will be produced. Jiang Chun had to give up. Sell the canned food to the pawn shop in exchange for Yajing. The boss of the pawn shop is a robot. When it detects the canned food on the table, it has never experienced radiation. Immediately invited Jiang Chun to the VIP room. There is a beautiful woman receptionist inside. When seeing Sun Jiao behind Jiang Chun, a disappointed look appeared on his face. Sun Jiao told him only after the transaction was completed, and he left. Sun Jiao only told him, that woman specifically serves VIP clients. Season just now did not receive service. Season so there was no commission. Just as she was joking, suddenly realized someone was following behind. However, she didn't rush to shake off the person. Instead, he came to a small clinic to give Jiang Chen a vaccine injection. This type of T vaccine not only prevents radiation, can also strengthen muscles and bones. If you have a chance to fight back against the person tracking you. However, the vaccine takes 3 days to take effect. They first took refuge in the hotel shelter. This is run by the shelter's ruler. The person tracking them dare not make a move here. But I never expected. That night, someone climbed in through the window. Luckily, Sun Jiao was not asleep. After catching the person, he held a gun against the other's third leg. Who instructed you to do this quickly? As a result, the man was very tough. Insisted that he just came in to steal something. Until Jiang Chun took out a piece of subcrystal. Could not resist the temptation. Revealed the mastermind behind the Grey Goo Mercenary Corps. However, what awaited him was a cold bullet. As a college graduate of 2024, but wanting to get rich in the end times is a required course. Sun Jiao comforted him all night before he recovered. As for the man's body, the hotel is already used to it. Even feeling sorry for the thief who entered, willing to provide free dinner, but was rejected by Jiang Chen. Compared to the flesh of those mutant monsters, he still prefers to eat the food he brought himself. The two of them were not idle for the next 3 days. Found near the bank, there is a nest of dead claws. The death claw is a very dangerous monster. Not only is it fast and agile, it also has a keen sense of smell. The whole body is covered with high-density keratin. It is difficult for regular bullets to cause damage. If the original plan is to blow up the vault with explosives, it is very likely to come a large number of dead claws. So it is best to use another approach. Find someone to hack into the host to obtain bank permissions. Open the vault door with a password. Generally, this kind of person is very common in the slave market, and extremely cheap, because they are all awakened from hibernation. Old-era humans awakened in the warehouse. Unable to do physical labor. Almost no one will buy. Jiang Chun only spent a yajing, and bought a president of a technology company. The boss is about to bring the person over. A little girl suddenly threw herself into Jiang Chen's arms. I also understand computers. Please buy me. But before Jiang Chun could answer, the girl was already caught by the guards in the corner, ready to execute with a gun. Because she is such a worthless girl, only knows how to waste food. Jiang Chun really couldn't bear it in his heart. Finally, she replaced the president. The girl's name is Yao Jiayu. Entered the hibernation chamber at the age of 12. Upon awakening, the body age is already 16 years old. But the mind remains before the disaster. Watching her shiver in the wind, Jiang Chen draped his coat over her. The sudden warmth. The tears of this lonely girl kept flowing uncontrollably, but she dared not cry out loud, afraid of disturbing the owner and being abandoned again. After returning to the hotel, Jiang Chun wanted to take off her collar, but he was rejected by the girl. Because there is a collar on, the owner can trust her unconditionally. So Sun Jiao had to take her to bathe first. Shoji then went to the kitchen to make dinner. waiting for the girl to come out of the bathroom, seeing a table full of food. Tears can no longer be held back. Today is the happiest moment of her life. The girl just turned 16 years old, sold for $1 with a slave collar on. Because 100 years after Doomsday, humans are the cheapest commodity. Jiang Chun bought her and wanted to remove the collar. The girl resisted strongly, because a slave without a collar, often abandoned by the owner. Jiang Chun is from the year 2024, unable to understand this distorted ideology. But there was no coercion. He returned to the camp with the girl, but just as they walked out, not far, just ambushed by a group of armed bandits. It turns out they are the Grey Grub Mercenary group, specializing in robbing wealthy scavengers. Under the cover of Sun Jiao, Jiang Chun carried the girl and hid in a dilapidated building. This is the prearranged evacuation route. The first floor of the ruins has a sewer. He first took the girl and hid inside. Sun Jiao is installing explosives outside. The mercenaries are rushing in. He presses the remote control switch. With a loud bang, the entire building collapsed. Although temporarily safe, but wiped out a mercenary squad. It's time to settle the score with the Grey Grub mercenaries once and for all. We must quickly find the sewer exit. But we hadn't taken many steps. A row of bullets suddenly shot out from the darkness. Sun Jiao was accidentally shot. When the attacking creature was identified, she hurriedly told Jiang Chun to escape quickly. They are a group of mutant humans, who specifically prey on their own kind, once hunted by various human organizations, unexpectedly hiding in the sewer, certain death if caught. Just as she was about to expose herself, Jiang Chun stood in front of her and crushed the head of a cannibal with his bare hands. It turns out that the T vaccine in his body has taken effect. Increase muscle and bone strength by 25 times. Holding a gun in one hand and making a fist. Mutant humans have no resistance at all. All cannibals were killed in less than a minute. But this vaccine also has side effects. After the outbreak, there will be a period of weakness. Jiang Chun staggered towards Sun Jiao. As a result, a cannibal didn't die completely. Waving a dagger, he launched a surprise attack from behind. Jiang Chun thought he was dead. But when he opened his eyes again, he found himself in a dark place, but lying on the bed in the camp. It turned out that at a critical moment, it was Yao Yao who shot to save him. Sun Jiao is also fine. It turns out she has also received the vaccine injection. The T-type vaccine will modify the human body's DNA. Let ordinary people awaken some special abilities. She awakened resilience. So 2 bullets hit her waist. No fatal injuries were caused. Jiang Chen awakened the berserk state, bursting out astonishing combat power in a short period of time. But he couldn't control it freely. So Sun Jiao equipped him with 2 potions. One for activation, used to terminate. Several days later, Jiang Chun took some gold, pretending to go buy food. Waited until there was no one around. Triggered the tattoo on his hand to teleport back to the year 2024. Back to the broken rental. He immediately put the gold on the scale. A full 35.5 kilograms. Can also sell for 14.2 million. But he dares not sell all at once. Only loaded 7 kilograms. Find a small gold shop in the urban village. The boss sees a gold bar in a backpack. Instantly eyes light up. Respectfully invited him to the VIP room. But when he heard there was no invoice, his face turned a bit ugly. He has also received gold with unknown origins. But it's the first time for such a large quantity. Jiang Chun saw the boss hesitating. Proactively lower the price to 400 per gram. The extra is considered as a tip. The boss is laughing uncontrollably. The price of gold that day was over 470. This deal made a profit of 500,000. Jiang Chun got the money the first time. Came to the busiest shopping mall in the city. Bought a suit worth 100,000. Then went to a high-end hair salon. Washed a 3,999 head. Finally ate a Michelin 3-star meal that cost over 10,000 yuan. Only spent 200,000 in total. Thinking about having several tons of gold in the apocalypse. Couldn't help but laugh out loud. But the most valuable thing in the apocalypse is not gold, but far beyond modern technology. He brought back a holographic computer pin. If we could start a company for mass production, making billions is not a problem. But as a worker, he has no idea how to start a company. Just when he was in distress, suddenly saw a suitable candidate. His former female boss Xia Shiyu, once a spirited female powerhouse. I don't know how Gong Luan ended up working at the flower shop. I wanted to go up and say hello, but I found her surrounded by a group of hooligans. Although he was fired by his female boss at first, Zhang Chun still decided to lend a helping hand. He learned from their conversation. The boss borrowed 400,000 yuan in high-interest loans and has no money to repay. He pretended to be her boyfriend and leaned on the boss's shoulder. I am willing to help her repay, but to go to the bank to withdraw money. The gangsters see that he is wearing all famous brands. Believe it to be true. You can wait until there are no surveillance cameras in the alley. Zhang Qian pulled out his gun and pointed it at his head. The gang leader thought it was fake. Still want to resist. As a result, Zhang Qian shot one of the henchmen in the leg. Scared, he immediately knelt down and begged for mercy. Xia Shiyu handed over the IOU with both hands. Turned to the gang leader on the spot. After driving away a few people, he found his female boss with an IOU. Intended to show off a bit. The female boss, however, lowered her head in loneliness. She used to be a manager in a big company. Zhang Chun was just one of the hundreds of employees under her. She fired him for being late once. It didn't take long for the subsidiary's performance to decline. She was also dismissed by the head office, supporting her ex-boyfriend with her salary. Therefore, he proposed to break up. Before leaving, she borrowed a high-interest loan using her ID card. In order to repay the debt, can only talk about working in a flower shop. I thought my life was ruined like this. I never expected Zhang Chun to come to my rescue. Xia Shiyu doesn't know how to repay this kindness. I had to invite him home, willing to pay any price. Zhang Chun was waiting for this sentence. The man only used a piece of expired bread to exchange for 30 kilograms of gold, because it was 100 years after the post-apocalyptic. Gold is better than scrap iron. Zhang Chun traveled back to 2024 with this bag of gold, sold it off, became a millionaire. But the most valuable thing in the end times is not gold, but far beyond modern technology, such as hibernation chambers, virtual reality technology, mature cloning devices. If you start a future technology company, can definitely make billions, but he has no idea how to operate. So he had to find his unemployed former female boss. Offered her a monthly salary of 20,000 to be the CEO. Xia Shiyu wanted to refuse, but remembered still owed him 400,000. If it reaches the mouth, swallow it back into the stomach. Zhang Chun transferred 500,000 over. Let her first register the company. The name is called Future Technology. Then become a carefree shopkeeper. Fly to Sanya for vacation. He used to be a monthly salary of 3,000 yuan worker. It was hard to get rich. Can't enjoy it properly. Stay in a 5-star hotel. Look at the blonde beauty. Drink a Lafite from 1982. He was suddenly awakened by a knock on the door while he was sleeping soundly on the bed for 11,000 nights. Suddenly awakened by the sound of knocking on the door. The waiter brought a package up. He is a prince from Saudi Arabia. To celebrate the birthday of his beloved princess, he invited all the guests in the hotel. Although Zhang Qian is not interested in the prince, but the delicacies at the banquet cannot be missed. Those steaks are high-end goods that cost thousands per serving. But he was interrupted by a man who was eating happily. Zhang Qian immediately became vigilant. But he was interrupted by a man who was eating happily, because there is a gun hidden in the other party's suit. The man quickly explained. His name is Bruce. He is a banquet bodyguard. As a retired Special Forces soldier, he sensed a dangerous aura emanating from Zhang Qian. Fear is the killer, so come and take a look. Zhang Chun told him directly that he is in the gold business. Can be in the impression of blues. Asia seems to have no significant gold exports. Zhang Chun had to make excuses and say, engaging in border trades. Bruce no longer lives in between, because borders often represent the underworld. Finally managed to send the bodyguard away. There is a person coming up to chat, but this time it's a beauty. Handsome guy, are you alone? I still need a male companion to enjoy the beach with me. Zhang Chun guessed right away what she does. I have a beach villa, just need a female companion. Then the two of them supported each other back to the room. 10,000 words are omitted here. After enjoying a night, the beauty is taking selfies on the bed and posting them on Moments. Zhang Chun is ready to go out for breakfast. Bruce showed up unexpectedly and brought along a friend, doing business in gold and crude oil. Want to get to know him? Maybe he can help in business. Zhang Chun really has some difficult problems. That is the sale of gold. The Doomsday Vault has at least a few tons. It's impossible to sell all the gold from the store. He asked the other party tentatively whether to accept untraceable gold. Roberts immediately became interested. He has a gold mine in South Africa. Just need to go through a procedure to transport it there. Any gold can legally appear on the international market. but a 9% handling fee is required. Jiang Chun agreed on the spot. When he mentioned there were probably several tons, Roberts was so scared he almost couldn't stand steady. With a 9% commission, that's also over $1 billion. This time I'm going to make a fortune. The bald bodyguard on the side, however, reminds to be careful of this Oriental person. Intuition tells him, if he starts a fight, his chances of winning are not more than 50%. Jiang Chun naturally did not know their conversation. Now he can't wait to bring back that batch of gold. The vacation ended early the next day. Just got off the plane. Was immediately dragged to the office by Xia Shiyu and scolded. The boss often disappears without notice. The company is now registered, but there is no product. The development direction has not been determined either. Jiang Chen told her not to worry. Leave everything to oneself. Because he had no intention of hiring research personnel, disassembling future tech products. That would take too long. It's better to buy a batch of slaves at the post-apocalyptic. Let them apply future technology to modern products. After explaining the company's affairs clearly, he returned to the end times. The whole building has changed a lot in just 1 month. It turns out that during his absence, a monster with a crystal index of 90,000 appeared nearby. The Yajing index is the standard for measuring the strength of monsters. The higher the index, the stronger the strength. Anything over 300 is very dangerous. But beyond a certain point, the threat will actually decrease. Because their bodies are too bulky, it is very difficult to even move a step. So these mutated monsters are often seen as prey by the survivors. This monster with a crystal index of only 90,000 attracted several nearby shelters to attack, resulting in a violent explosion. The monster split into a dozen or so. She was afraid the camp would be attacked, so she traded food for resources. The small building has been fortified into a fortress. This is a mutant monster with nuclear radiation. Eating its meat may likely grow 2 heads. But humans have to eat. Because 100 years after Doomsday, the Earth can no longer grow food. But within this fortress welded from steel plates. But he can eat fresh fruits and vegetables. Because he traveled from the year 2024, transporting food from the present. Never before has gold been transported back to the ancient world. Jiang Chun told this secret to Sun Jiao and Yao Yao. Sun Jiao was very excited. Even if it's not oneself, one can still travel through space to the modern era. Jiang Chun shook his head. He has tried to shuttle with living creatures, but it always ends in failure. But maybe in the future. Yao Yao immediately vetoed this idea. Mutant bacteria are everywhere in the future. If they are carried over, a disaster is likely to break out. Jiang Chun never even thought about it. Reminded by Yao Yao like this, cold sweat broke out instantly. Later, Sun Jiao also shared her secrets. She was born in a special shelter, isolated from the world there. Although life is not so good, at least we can eat and dress warmly. But at the age of 10, the shelter has reached its usage limit. The gate opens automatically. A group of scavengers broke in, burn, kill, loot. She got separated from her family, abducted by a scavenger, sold to human traffickers. As a result, those human traffickers were wiped out by a masked woman. Later, she became a disciple of the woman. Follow her wandering. Learn how to survive in the apocalypse. But one day the master suddenly disappears. She searched for a long time but couldn't find it. She even searched for her parents' whereabouts during the period. But all she found were rows of tombstones. But she heard from the shelter people that her younger sister was still alive. After that, she wandered around while searching, until one day feeling tired, don't want to continue struggling in the apocalypse, so changed into a clean set of clothes, sitting quietly in the room waiting for death. Then met Jiang Chun, who climbed over the wall, found the meaning of surviving again. After spending this time together, Jiang Chun also regards her as family, decided to protect this home well. Although the solidity of this small building is comparable to a fortress, it can withstand most monsters, but it lacks heavy firepower weapons. If a monster with an Yajing index of over 300 appears, can't stop it at all. He decided to go to the 6th district, that is the largest shelter nearby, with a pre-apocalyptic military factory, survivors within a radius of several hundred kilometers. Weapons are all purchased from there. Jiang Chun just passed the security check. He felt the military power of District 6 immediately. A war machine about 4 to 5 meters high, automatically patrolling at the gate. If we could get a few back, you don't have to worry about monsters invading anymore. But this type of weapon is not for sale to the public. However, Jiang Chun came up with a solution. He didn't go directly to buy weapons. Instead, he found the most high-end hotel in the 6th district and booked the most luxurious room, then pay with canned food. This kind of canned food that has not been exposed to nuclear radiation is extremely rare in the apocalypse. No surprises. The next day arrived at the hands of the high-rise in District 6. The high-rise immediately instructed the secretary to investigate the origin of the canned food. Inside the hotel at this moment, Jiang Chun just enjoyed a nutrient chamber massage. Although this is a post-apocalyptic hotel, but the entertainment facilities are not lacking at all. There is a robotic arm for playing ball with others. There are holographic projections simulating various eras. Even a companion robot that can do anything. Before he could try each one, he was interrupted by a knock on the door. The person's name is Zhao Chenwu. He is a member of the 10-person committee of the 6th Street District. Jiang Chun invited him into the room. This is the canned fruit produced by our company. If you don't mind, you can try it. Councilman Zhao was surprised. Put down in the post-apocalyptic world where crops cannot be grown, many people have never seen fruit in their lifetime. Although there is indoor planting in the 6th district, due to radiation exposure, extremely rare in quantity, even high-level individuals rarely get to eat. He pretended to be calm. Pick up a piece with a toothpick and put it in your mouth. That juicy and sweet taste. It's as if my body is melting. This is the most delicious thing he has ever eaten in his life. Unable to resist, he spoke first. How many cans does Mr. Jiang have in his hands? I am willing to purchase at a high price. Jiang Chan was waiting for this sentence. Our company has more than just canned fruits. There are canned beef and fish. You can produce as much as you want. Councilman Zhao was almost shocked to drop his chin. I thought the young man in front of me was just lucky. Found some canned food left over from the pre-apocalyptic era. Little did I know he was a food producer. This is a can of fruit that has expired for 200 years, but it can be exchanged for a whole army's weapons. Because in a post-apocalyptic world full of nuclear radiation, plants can no longer grow. Even the rulers of the shelter find it difficult to have a bite of fruit. Jiang Chan brought a can of fruit and crossed to the post-apocalyptic. The ruler just took a sip, willing to exchange with anything. He showed Jiang Chan around his military factory. Besides the common firearms and ammunition inside, there are also magnetic levitation drones, equipped with automatic recognition of enemy and friendly machine guns, can ensure our personnel are unharmed. But these are only civilian-grade weapons. The real good stuff is war robots. From small humanoid reconnaissance aircraft to large triangular barrel spider tanks, Jiang Chun is moved. Propose long-term trade cooperation. Exchange food for these equipment. Councillor Zhao immediately had his secretary draft a contract to show sincerity, and also presented a gift, the newly developed nitrogen armor. Through the quantum atomic vortex effect, turns nitrogen into a high-pressure ring flow barrier, able to withstand gunfire from 4 heavy machine guns simultaneously, but cannot be used continuously for more than 10 seconds. Otherwise, it will overheat and become unusable. After the transaction is completed, Jiang Chan bought another batch of slaves in the 6th district. He did not choose strong people, but they are the old-era humans who wake up in the hibernation warehouse, because they were unable to enter the large hibernation warehouse before. Without exception, they are all elites. For example, this old man was a senior mechanical engineer before the doomsday, enjoying the privilege of entering the hibernation pod with his family. Can wake up. The skills he mastered are useless. His wife and daughter were taken by human traffickers. He also became a slave and was sent to be sold in District 6. There are only 2 fates waiting for him: to become the private soldier of certain people, or live experimental materials. Today he was chosen. There is also a woman with him. The possibility of private soldiers has been basically ruled out. He is ready to be used as an experimental subject. You can get off the car. What caught the eye was a large bucket of watery porridge. Is it some kind of enticing live experiment? But he can't care about that anymore. It's not a bad idea to have a good meal before you die. After this meal, ate half of the warehouse's food. Sun Jiao felt very sorry. Jiang Chun quickly asked her to stop. Food is very valuable in the apocalypse, but for him, who can travel back and forth, it's not worth mentioning at all. What he values more is the knowledge in these people's minds. Afterwards, he classified this group of people according to their professions. Part of them expanded the base. Part of them followed Yao Yao to study how to apply future technology, integrated into the hardware level of 2024. After arranging everything, He returned to the present day. During the time of purchasing weapons, Yao Yao has already broken open the vault door, brought back a batch of gold samples. He wants Roberts to inspect the goods. You can make a phone call. The one who answered was a bald bodyguard. Occasionally, gunshots could be heard. Turns out Roberts went to the war-torn area for business. Got captured by terrorists. The bald bodyguard led the team for the rescue. Only he survived in the end. Jiang Chun is in distress. That's several tons of gold. Without Roberts as the middleman, it simply cannot be sold domestically. After much hesitation, he decided to personally rescue Roberts. The next day he took a plane. Arriving at the city closest to the war-torn area, the bald bodyguard is already waiting over here. He sighed when he saw Jiang Chun coming alone. Sighed. Mr. Jiang, Chinese Kung Fu is useless here. You should go back. Jiang Chun secretly laughed in his heart. Today, let me show you the power of technology. After arriving at the place where Roberts was imprisoned, he remotely controls a drone to take off. This was bought from a future military factory. Not only can achieve visual invisibility, can also detect the number of enemies inside the building. 5 people on the second floor, 3 people on the first floor, all carrying weapons. 6 people in the basement without weapons. Should be hostages. He asked the bald bodyguard to be on standby at the door. He ventured in himself. After receiving the vaccine injection, his physique has far surpassed that of ordinary people. At the foot, jumped onto the windowsill on the second floor. Attach a silencer to the gun. Shot down the terrorist by the window. Then there are 4 people playing cards together. The sound of falling to the ground. The terrorists on the first floor were alarmed. Jiang Chun had to kill all the way down. After a hail of bullets, when he opened the door, there was even a terrorist inside, who also took hostages. Put the gun down quickly. Otherwise, I will kill him. Jiang Chun had no choice but to throw the gun on the ground. Terrorists immediately turn their guns and fire at him, but Jiang Chun is unharmed, because the bullets were all blocked by the nitrogen barrier. Solve the last person. He evacuated with Roberts from the back door. But here is still a terrorist-occupied area. Their combination of 1 black, 1 white, and 1 yellow is just too conspicuous. In order to evade pursuers, had to sneak into a truck transporting refugees. Little did they know they would encounter another attacking group on the road. They are a slave-catching team in the desert, specializing in capturing women traffickers on the run. A girl on the car doesn't want to fall into their hands. Seeing Jiang Chun with a gun, pray that he killed himself. Jiang Chun smiled slightly. I won't let them take you away. After saying that, he jumped off the car. 4 robbers saw it. Raised the AK, and it's a burst of gunfire. As a result, the bullet is at a distance from Jiang Chun, all 10 centimeters apart. They thought they saw a ghost. Scared and ran away. Roberts, who was hiding behind the car, was shot one by one. The 3 didn't want to involve the group of refugees. The hijacker's car left the convoy. There was 1 more person on the car. It's the girl who was rescued. Her name is Aisha. Is an orphan. Just turned 18 this year. Originally wanted to go to a refugee camp to find a man to marry. Now saved by Jiang Chun. Unable to repay. Can only give myself to you. In the girl's own words, I am willing to be a gift of the desert. Serve you for a lifetime like a camel. Jiang Chun finally softened his heart. Asked Roberts to help with getting a visa, bringing Aisha back to the country. Several days later, the bald bodyguard came knocking again. Jiang Chun took him to a warehouse on the outskirts. It was filled with square-shaped goods, but all covered by the cloth. Jiang Chun lifted one of them, revealing tons of gold. Which one would you choose, 11 tons of gold or a loaf of bread? The woman chose the loaf of bread without hesitation, because in a wasteland world, food is the most precious. Gold is just scrap iron. Jiang Chun left behind bread, transported 11 tons of gold back to the present. When he lifted the cloth, revealing the shiny gold bricks underneath, the bald bodyguard was shocked speechless. The boss asked him to buy gold, but he didn't expect there would be so much. After verifying its authenticity, he transferred the money to Jiang Chun's Ruetu account. Although the acquisition price is much lower than the international gold price, 2.024 is lower than $1 billion US. Have I ever had so much money? But Kai can't become the world's richest man. However, Jiang Chun xiquickly calmed down. Too much gold entering the market will definitely be valuable. Want to earn more money? It's best to bring the technology of the waste world over. He gave Xia Xiyu $1 billion. Let her start recruiting some marketing talents. Because Fitu technology integrates research on modern products. There has been a breakthrough. The product is called Future Man 1.0. It's a bit like a phone voice assistant, but the difference is, it can not only passively respond, but also actively communicate. Even has a personal emotion. Doesn't feel like an AI product at all. Is this what software can achieve? He suspects the phone hardware has been modified. If the technology is too advanced, it will not be able to be mass-produced in modern times. The researchers opened it on the spot to show him the results. None of the hardware inside has been touched. Only need one installation package. Any phone can be compatible. After Jiang Chun copied the installation package to the U-disk. Can't wait to travel back to modern times. I wanted to show Xia Shiyu something, but found her coughing incessantly. I touched her forehead and found she had a high fever of 39 degrees. You are the company's CEO. Never fall ill. Just carry her into the car. Personally took her to the hospital. Watched her enter the consultation room. Only then sat down at the door and waited peacefully. A burst of arguing came to my ears. It turned out to be a dispute between the family members and the doctor. Adhering to the principle of, not my business, he pretended not to see, playing with his phone absent-mindedly. Little did he know a family member thought he was recording, rushing up aggressively, about to check his phone. But Jiang Chen's phone has Future Man 1.0. It's all commercial secrets before going public. How could I let him see it? The kid is about to fight. The man's brother quickly came to help. It turns out their father has contracted rabies. The doctor didn't even treat him, just told them to prepare for the worst. So that's why they started arguing. It's not about causing trouble at the hospital, and their father holds a position in a government agency. If the video just now gets leaked, it may have a negative impact. Jiang Chun has too many explanations. Open Kongzi's album directly. Just as a few people apologize and leave, Jiang Chun suddenly spoke. Maybe I can cure rabies. His system space has many genetic drugs, although not specifically for treating diseases, but can transform human genes. Resist 99% of modern diseases. Of course, he is not overly sympathetic. Instead, I want to make friends with some government officials. Maybe it will be helpful in the future. The man is half doubtful about what he said, but the doctors have no way. Can only resort to desperate measures. Jiang Chun asked everyone to wait outside. He entered the ward alone. He came out in less than a minute. The man was about to ask about the results. There was movement inside. Rushed in to find father already awake. He will thank when he comes to his senses. Jiang Chun had long disappeared. Only left a string of phone numbers at the hospital reception. Half a month later, Future Man 1.0 officially released. Just 10 days, the download volume exceeded 40 million. The whole industry is in an uproar. Major companies are starting to compete to crack down on imitations. Jiang Chun, however, sits in the office nibbling on an apple, not worried at all about piracy. He is confident that no one can crack it within 50 years. As a result, those big companies couldn't crack it. They started thinking about acquisition again, offered a sky-high price of $1.3 billion. Jiang Chun directly refused. It's just the beginning now. The value it brings behind is more than 13 billion. But the consequences of his refusal is the emergence of a large number of counterfeit software on the market. Although shoddy workmanship cannot shake the status of future generations, it can easily bring negative impacts to the company. Jiang Chen decided to form a legal team. Just happened to have a job fair at my alma mater. He asked Xia Shiyu to set up a booth. Didn't expect it to be so popular. There were over 1,000 people crowded in front of the booth. But the interview lasted all morning. Not applying for a developer position. Just want to be in management. There are even beautiful female students applying for the position of the director's secretary. A law school genius didn't show up until the afternoon. Hello, my name is Chen Lulu. I am a loyal user of the Future Man myself. Super love a assistant Xiaobai. Such a lively and cheerful girl. Immediately aroused Jiang Chen's interest. However, there must be no mistakes in the legal aspect. Let Xia Shiyu carefully review it again. I didn't expect the girl to have a very solid legal foundation. Jiang Chen decided to admit on the spot. 2 months passed in the blink of an eye. Finished with the company's affairs. Just crossed over, but found the entire base empty. Has something happened? He quickly rushed up the watchtower. Found that outside was covered with mourning clothes as far as the eye could see. Do you know why mourners don't eat or drink? Can it keep living? They do not need to consume energy. The answer is quite the opposite. Bereaved households spend a lot of time every day gathering energy. They have a kind of spore behind their brains. They can undergo photosynthesis like plants, so the whole day is used to recharge. Aggressiveness will decrease. By night, energy is sufficient. The text will enter a frenzy state. But the morning in front of Jiang Qian is contrary to the usual. Not only did the 100 days not quietly charge, launched a fierce attack on the base. According to Sun Jiao's investigation, found in the bodies of these bereaved families, there is a new unknown bacterium, can decompose radiation in the air, provide a continuous source of energy instead of photosynthesis. If we let this kind of pathogen spread, it will attract more and more undead attacks. The base is likely to be lost. The source of the bacteria is in two places, between District 6 and the Fishbone Base. Jiang Chun contacted Councilman Zhao from District 6. Hope to cooperate. Clean up the source of germs together. Councillor Zhao takes advantage of the situation. Propose expanding food trade. Canned meat 10,000. Canned fruit 8,000. Compressed biscuits 100,000. For Jiang Qian, who can travel back and forth, this amount of supplies poses no difficulty at all. It's just a matter of finding a few more food processing factories. However, he still showed a hesitant look, disturbed by zombies. Our production capacity is limited. If Councillor Zhao can provide 10 sets of T3 power armor, maybe we can expand trade. Councillor Zhao refused on the spot. Other weapons are easy to talk about, but T3 power armor is restricted equipment. In addition, the other 9 senators will never agree. Jiang Qian doesn't believe this set of rhetoric. After hours of negotiation, finally sold at a price of 20,000 yajing per set, Councilman Zhao sent 10 slaves out and reported casualties above. After getting the power armor, Jiang Chun formed an elite team, immediately attacked the source of the pathogen. The periphery of the source is gathering tens of thousands of mourners. With the blessing of power armor, they drove the armored vehicle directly and rampaged through straight ahead, arriving at the center of the source, but finding an unusual quietness around. Not even a mourning hall. This situation generally has only one possibility. There is a powerful alien nearby. Must be resolved quickly. Evacuate before alerting the alien. They set up a launch pad on top of the high-rise building. Fire dozens of high-energy vacuum missiles at the source of the pathogen. After a fierce explosion, the surrounding ruins were leveled. But when the thick smoke clears, but found that the scattered bacteria are gathering at a visible speed, Sun Jiao immediately ordered separate actions. Clean up all scattered bacteria. When Jiang Chun searches for a ruin, suddenly attacked by unidentified organisms. If it weren't for the powered armor, this claw would tear him apart. Only when he gets up from the ground can he see clearly. It turns out to be a dead claw. The weakness of this monster is the eyes and spine, but the surface of the skin has a layer of hard keratin. Even bullets can't penetrate. Jiang Chun fires every time. The body of the dead claw will curl up. Protect the weak points with keratin. The bullets ran out quickly. He threw the gun aside, pulled out the close combat dagger from the waist. You only have one chance. Must kill with one blow. At the moment when the death claw pounced, he activated the teleportation and traveled back to the present. The next second, he traveled back again. The position is right behind the dead claw. A turnaround is a knife. Cut open the spine of the dead claw. The cleanup work was quickly completed, but the team members were at the center of the explosion. They discovered a deep, bottomless hole. Traces left by escaping pathogens. Jiang Qian decided to go down alone to inspect. If encountering danger, you can directly travel back to the present day. But after going several dozen meters deep, he found that this hole was not dug by bacteria at all, but a man-made elevator tunnel. Is this a shelter here? After cautiously passing through the dark corridor, what came into view was a mechanical gate, but no sign of bacteria. Could it be behind the gate? But he searched all around and couldn't find the switch. So he had to take out the spray gun and violently break down the door. Suddenly, a voice came from his ear. Please stop your behavior. Otherwise, I will strike back. Scared, Jiang Chun suddenly turned around, but no figure was found. It turns out the voice came from the communication device. Speaking is the artificial intelligence of this shelter. Code informant. To stop Jiang Chun's destructive behavior, voluntarily opened the mechanical gate. Also revealed the whereabouts of the pathogen mother. The mother possesses high intelligence, threatening it to open the gates of the shelter. Want to use the nutrients in the hibernation chamber to repair my own injuries. Jiang Chun quickly found the room where the mother was located according to the informant's guidance. However, he did not enter rashly. However, he did not enter rashly. Instead, detach the power armor. Remove the energy battery inside. Set it to self-destruct mode. The battery of the power armor compresses energy equivalent to 100 yajing, enough to destroy half of a shelter. However, initiating self-destruct sequence requires 3 seconds. He needs to hold on for 3 seconds before being sent back to the present to ensure the killing of the mother. However, when the door is pushed open, the laser weapon was aimed at his head. There is no matrix inside. There is only an individual body experiment chamber. It turns out all of this is the conspiracy of artificial intelligence. This is a robot born with self-awareness. In order to evolve human emotions, it puts more than 3,000 humans in the shelter, locked in hibernation pods as test subjects, until all turn into white bones. It only evolved to moderate artificial intelligence. So it set a trap, luring the survivors outside the shelter in. Jiang Chun is one of them, although he has exposed the robot's conspiracy. But the weapon system of the shelter, all controlled by robots, dare to resist and be immediately shot dead, can only obediently lie down in the hibernation chamber. When I open my eyes again, I find myself in a high school classroom. He suspects this is a dream, a bosom friend who can greet you from behind. The school beauty next to you who secretly admires is so real. Is it just a dream to cross the post-apocalyptic? Just when he was hesitating, the school beauty suddenly invited him to watch a movie at night. Faced with this rare opportunity, Jiang Qin instantly put the question aside. Time passes day by day. Memories of the apocalypse are gradually fading. Just as he was about to completely forget, the school's historical archives made him puzzled. The school clearly has a history of 50 years. Only the data from 18 years ago is recorded above. Everything before that is all blank. He was about to go to the school library to look up. The school beauty suddenly invited him to visit her home. Also hinted that parents are not at home tonight. Jiang Chun is confused. Decide to check the information again the next day. But in the following days, whenever he appears at the library gate, various accidents will happen, either being driven away by security guards, or the library is under maintenance. So he sneaked into the library computer room under the cover of darkness, planning to look up the school's history inside. Little did he know, as soon as he turned on the computer, the library exploded. A group of soldiers wearing mechanical exoskeletons rushed in, indiscriminately shooting civilians. Jiang Chun was caught at the gym. Also, the classmates in the class. One of the soldiers mutinied out of lust, touching female classmates. Best friend rushed up to stop. As a result, was pressed to the ground by the soldiers and had his neck wiped on the spot. Watched helplessly as my best friend was killed. Anger surged to my head. Unexpectedly triggered a berserk state. Jiang Chun suddenly remembered everything. The surroundings all turned into nothingness. Only a school beauty was left. However, what's inside her is artificial intelligence. I didn't expect you to break through the illusion, but this is just the beginning of the experiment. The next second, Jiang Chun returned to that familiar classroom again. The memories in his mind were also reset. However, in a state of frenzy, resetting didn't work at all. He remembers everything that happened. Also found that the flow of time in the dream is different from reality. Originally, it could only last for about 10 minutes. It has not been lifted for several days. Next, he tried various methods to break the illusion. Every time you get close to the answer, all sorts of accidents will happen, leading to the reset of the illusion. What meteorite fell? Morning house outbreak. Even killed by the school flower with a chainsaw. Until a girl appeared. She was one of the first to join the experiment. Because before the post-apocalyptic, the body is transformed into an electronic person, having infinite lifespan. So she has been living until now, in countless reincarnations. She had long known the way to break the illusion. But compared to the apocalypse outside, she would rather stay in this illusion. Jiang Chun pointed the gun at her head. Tell me where the exit is. I know I can't kill you in the virtual world, but you can still feel pain. The girl was scared to tears. Tearfully told him. The switch to end the experiment. It's the fire button in the hospital's underground garage. It turns out this experiment program is not designed by artificial intelligence, but a simulation experiment by human scientists. After Doomsday, humans evacuated from here. One of the artificial intelligences in the laboratory gave birth to its own consciousness, deceived survivors into entering simulation experiments. By simulating human behavior, let yourself achieve evolution and upgrade. but it cannot manipulate the entire experiment. So the scientists left an end switch. It has been preserved until now. When Jiang Chun pressed the switch, consciousness instantly returned to the hibernation chamber. While artificial intelligence hasn't caught up yet, activate the self-destruct program of the Yajing battery, then traveled back to the present. Took a nap in the newly bought mansion, waiting to return to the post-apocalyptic. Half of the shelter has become a ruined city. The girl's nurturing pod is intact. The laboratory's life support system has been destroyed. If she is not awakened, it won't be long before it becomes a corpse.